Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to come to you to show you and remind you of a forgotten herb, another forgotten herb. And I say it's forgotten because not many people are using this herb anymore like they once did back in the day, like our forefathers did, like our elders did. Traditionally, this plant, the Germander Speedwell, the beautiful, the wonderful, the ever so gorgeous, the ever so versatile, the ever so amazingly fabulous Germander Speedwell, Veronica chamaedrys. This plant, guys, was traditionally used for supporting our older people or traditional people, some who are still alive today. So if you have an elder, a wise elder, they're all wise, by the way. Everyone who have reached a certain age, guys, don't throw them aside. They're filled with lots of wonderful knowledge. They've lived life. They've experienced life. They could tell you so much. They could pass on so much knowledge to you. Just ask them. Granddad, grandma, auntie, grandaunt, granduncle, your neighbor, your elderly neighbor, your elderly friend. Ask them, what gems do you know? What gorgeous information? What wonderful herbal knowledge do you know about this amazing blue wonder, the gorgeous Germander Speedwell, Veronica chamaedrys. Now, you've probably seen this around in the UK, but you probably haven't really paid attention to it because you don't know what it's for. So today I wanted to come and talk to you about it, to remind you of the wonderful uses of it, so that you can then start using it, guys, to help us today. So let's go. Let's take you into the shade. So we'll talk to you today about, let me tell you about some of the uses that I've researched, that I've found out. So Germander Speedwell, Veronica chamaedrys, is also called bird's eye Speedwell, or simply, some people just call it simply Speedwell. It has a long history in European folk herbalism. A traditional village herbalist might have called it a clearing and strengthening herb for the chest and nerves, while a modern clinical herbalist would describe it as a mild, bitter, anti-inflammatory, soothing, and gentle tonic plant. It is generally considered a gentle herb, but it's not heavily studied in modern clinical research today. So most is based on traditional practice and herbal experience rather than strong medical trials. Now, what are some of the traditional uses of Miss Veronica chamaedrys? Well, historically, Germander Speedwell was used for persistent coughs and chest congestion, spring cleansing, as a spring cleansing tonic, a mild digestive sluggishness tonic. So if people were experiencing like digestive issues or a sluggish digestion, they would actually boil this and drink it to help them. It was also used for nervous exhaustion and tension, skin irritation and slow healing wounds, as well as rheumatic aches and pains, guys. The same aches and pains that we're going through these days. The same joint pains that many people are still struggling with. These pains and these aches, guys, were not just back in the day. We're still experiencing them today. We still have them going on today. But we've just seemed to have forgotten the traditional remedies. And so we tend to use the other more modern remedies, which sometimes come with so many side effects, guys. We just need to get back to nature, get back to the beginning, get back to the original creation, the early parts when these plants were created for this purpose, to support us as we live, to help us with the aches and pains. We need to remind ourselves, we need to get back to the traditional ways of helping ourselves. So let's continue learning about Miss Veronica chamaedrys, Germander Speedwell, the gorgeous, so amazing, so beautiful. Look at those petals. Oh my gosh. So Old herbalists often drank it as a strengthening tea after winter illnesses too, guys. So it was used for that as well. Apart from that, it was used as a simple tea for chest support, mild colds, digestion, and a general tonic. Not only that, it was also used as a strong infusion for that spring cleansing I spoke about earlier. Traditional country herbalists often use like a stronger infusion in spring. So what they would use it to do, they believe that traditionally it was believed to clear the heat, like stimulate sluggish digestion, like I said, and support the liver and the kidney gently. Modern herbalists would describe this as a mild digestive and metabolic support. Traditionally, it was also used to make a tincture. Modern herbalists too often prefer tinctures for consistency nowadays anyway. Now, this tincture was normally used for chronic catarrh, mild inflammatory conditions, and as I said before, nervous tension. And they often blended it with other herbs like lemon balm, skullcap, elderflower. Not only that, but plantain, and that would help with those issues, the nervous tension issues. Traditionally, it was also used in a poultice or a wash for skin. So what they would do is crush the fresh leaves and apply it directly to the irritated area or irritated skin. So they would make like a strong tea and use it as a wash for like minor wounds, itchy skin, psoriasis and eczema. In modern day today, herbalists might combine it with like calendula or chamomile to be used externally. Now, what do modern herbalists say about this? Well, modern phytochemistry suggests that Speedwell contains iridoid glycosides, tannins, flavonoids, mild bitter compounds, and these may contribute to mild anti-inflammatory effects. Also, there may be gentle antimicrobial activity and also has soothing effects on the mucous membranes, as well as the digestive stimulation that we spoke about. But human clinical evidence of this beautiful, wonderful plant is limited. It should be viewed as a gentle, supportive herb rather than a powerful medicinal. But of course, as with every herb, guys, there are safety and cautions that we need to take. Germander Speedwell is generally regarded as a low risk when used moderately as tea. However, avoid excessive long-term use without guidance. Use caution during pregnancy or breastfeeding because safety data is limited. If you have chronic illness or take medications, especially diuretics or sedatives, consult a qualified herbal practitioner. Also, stop if digestive upset or allergic occurs. Another thing to note, guys, is that you should try your best to identify it properly. Do not confuse it with the very, very similar in look wall Germander. That one is Ticreum chamaedrys. That one is different from the Germander Speedwell. And you got to be cautious just to make sure that you choose the right one, this one that I'm showing you. Because the other one, the wall Germander, and I'll show you a picture of it, I'll show you a comparison image later on in the video so you'll know how to identify them and don't make them, give you a lesser chance of making a mistake and choosing the wrong herb. But the other one it resembles is the wall Germander, Ticreum chamaedrys. That one is known for liver toxicity. So you must correctly identify this one. So stay tuned for further on in the video where I show you how to identify them. And as well, I'll show you comparison pictures later on in the video so you can be able to identify them and see and note the differences between these lookalikes. Now, let's continue learning about our Germander Speedwell. Traditionally, herbalists used to use it for a classic old style chest and spring tonic tea. They would mix it with nettle, thyme, and elderflower. And that mix, that herbal chest spring tonic, was actually used traditionally for lingering winter congestion, fatigue after illness, damp or heavy feeling in the body. So wonderful, isn't it? Guys, have you seen this in your garden and just not knowing what it is? Well, let's take a closer look at it. Let's see. Let's make sure that this is the one that you have. So, let's talk about how to identify it safely in the wild. So let's take a closer look. I'm going to try and get a close-up so you can have a nice look at it. Let me go closer. As close as possible in good view. It's so sunny here, guys. Wonderfully sunny. Alright, so here is one directly in my hand. Now, to correctly identify Veronica chamaedrys, Germander Speedwell, you have to look carefully at the flowers first. So the flowers are the easiest clue. They usually have this bright sky blue look. They usually have 4 petals, one petal noticeably smaller than the others. Now look, if you look at this one, you'll see that, there you go. Those are the 4 petals, and one of the petals is smaller than the others. See that? Let me get a bit closer for you. There we go. So those are the 4 petals, and one of them is considerably smaller than the others. That's the first clue. If you look closely as well, there are dark blue guidelines radiating from the center. There you go, dark blue. See those? Dark blue guidelines radiating from the center of the flower, of each petal. Hopefully you can see that. Making sure my camera stays focused in this bright sunshine in the UK today. The other thing to look for is that there are 2 prominent stamens sticking outward. So usually 2 prominent stamens sticking outward. So if I can get up close, most of them have 2 prominent ones. Like, let me see if I can get you a close-up on another one. It's so sunny, guys. The sun is wonderful today, though it's getting into my camera view. Let me go over this side. There we go. So those are the 2 prominent stamens, those long bits that are pointing up. So there we are. Hopefully you can see that. So those are the 2 prominent. See, that's the first one, and that's the second one. And this one as well. This one looks like 3 stamens, but there are usually 2 of them that just stick out prominently. So the stamens are those tall parts sticking up from the petal. Those 2 parts there. So that's one of the ways of identifying it, by focusing on the petals. So looking at the petals just to make sure that you are getting the actual, choosing the correct plant. Now, let's talk about something else. Let's talk about the leaves. So the leaves usually have opposite pairs along the stem, and they're normally oval to heart shaped. They usually have like soft, hairy bits on it, and they're usually very serrated or scalloped edges. The leaves are usually attached by short stalks. So let's identify, let's examine one of them. So there we go. So as you can see here, the leaves are in pairs and they're usually opposite each other. So see that? Opposite each other. Usually in pairs and opposite each other. Here's another one. Just get into it. Look. Here's another one. They're in pairs and the leaves are opposite each other. And they're like heart-shaped. See? Heart-shaped. Heart-shaped. Let me try and get one off so you can see. There we go. There we go. Heart-shaped. I don't want to damage this plant. But yeah, look, they're heart-shaped. See? And they're opposite each other. And they have oval to heart shape, as I said. The opposite pairs along the stem, and they're softly hairy. So if I get a bit closer, you could probably see that they're a little bit fuzzy and a little bit hairy. A little bit fuzzy, a little bit hairy. There. Just look at this leaf, you see? So that's how you can identify them. Let's look at another one. There's another one. See? Oval to heart-shaped leaves and opposite each other and a little bit fuzzy, a little bit hairy. The stems as well are also hairy and fuzzy. The stems. Now let's look at the growth habit. Germander Speedwell forms low mats, loose spreading patches, usually found in meadows, woodlands, hedgerows, lawns, and grassy paths. It likes moist but not waterlogged soils, and it likes partial sun. These are out here in the sun. Now let's have a look at how it spreads, because that's how it's spreading in my garden now. Hopefully you can see a sea of blue right there. See that? That's how it spreads. Sea of blue. And they just pop up in your garden. I usually think that they pop up when in places where they're needed, like in traditionally how people used to use them. Traditional books have said that usually when herbs pop up in your area, or in your home, in your yard, it's usually because somebody needs their help. Maybe somebody has conditions that they help with. So if you think so, give it a go. Do research and give it a go. So that's how they grow. As I said, there are several lookalikes. I'll post a picture further in the video to show you. But there's one other Speedwell called the Persian Speedwell. It's called Veronica persica. That one also has blue flowers. And there's also wall Germander, which I spoke about earlier. This one, the wall Germander one, they are linked with liver injuries. You got to be very careful that you know how to spot them, okay? Old herbalists often said, guys, the true Speedwell carries the color of this clear sky and grows where the ground is healing itself. Traditionally, they preferred flowering tops, harvested on dry mornings before intense summer heat. The herb was considered strongest when the flowers were fully opened, like these are. Now, how did medieval herbalists view this plant energetically? Medieval European herbalism blended Greco-Arabic humoral medicine, folk energetics, monastic herb lore. Speedwell was usually considered energetic qualities of being mildly warming, slightly drying, opening and clearing, not strongly hot like ginger or strongly cooling like violet. Now, what were the traditional actions? All right, let's talk about how it opened obstructions in the past. Now, these were used where there was thick mucus, sluggish dampness, cold dampness, stagnation after illness. Traditionally, it was also used as a long herb. Medieval herbalists associated blue flowers with the chest, breath or breathing, and vital spirit. It was often used for chronic coughs, moist lungs, and catarrh. It was also used for nervous strengthening, like I said. Country healers later used it for melancholy, exhaustion, and mental fog after illness. Now, not many modern herbalists use this Germander Speedwell, but the ones who do, the wise ones, those modern herbalists rarely used it. But as I said, the ones that do, they use it as a supporting herb in balanced formula for chest congestion. They also use it for gentle lymphatic spring cleansing and for the nerves. They also use it to make an oxymel. In fact, in the next video, I'm going to show you how to make an oxymel using Germander Speedwell and honey and vinegar, apple cider vinegar, to make